Ladies and gentlemen, we non-stop never stop with an old friend, a familiar face who's not been with us here in a hot skip in a minute, but for good reasons he's with us here tonight because we're going to talk all things related to non-stop action wrestling as non-stop action wrestling is going to get ready for a huge slate of shows ahead. And they just had another show that took place where they awarded some new champions and more. Some recent guests actually were on that show. We're going to talk about all of that and some. And he is always doing a lot in the world of professional wrestling. He is always doing a great job when it comes to nonstop and never stop and everything that is in between of nonstop action wrestling. He needs no further introduction but it has been a very, very long time since he has last been on with us. We have to give him that introduction that everybody else gets here on Sportswire Radio. So with wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show, the chairman of non-stop action wrestling, non-stop, never stop, Mr. Joshua So. My friend, how are you?
I'm doing a lot better. It's been quite a while since I've been on here. Needed to do some necessary things, I'll say. But I'm on the road to recovery myself, and I'm just looking to get back into the swing of things and to put my time properly back into non-stop action wrestling and professional wrestling beyond.
Well, I mean, obviously, I even had a little bit of a brain fart in remembering to say nonstop action wrestling. I went nonstop, never stop. I caught myself. But I mean, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, I'm going to go a completely different path here. I mean, how are you feeling? I mean, to say, open up with a statement like that, I mean, I'm doing this a long time, and that's kind of a rather interesting statement. I mean, how are you feeling, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind me asking?
So I'm in a lot better position now.
I like the new hair look if it makes you feel better.
Thank you. It's I try to pride myself on my looks as much as I can.
Okay, all right, that's good.
It's been a tough one. Mental health. It decides to strike its ugly head whenever it wants. There's no rhyme and reason behind it, and I'm not going to go into the ugly details about it.
You don't have to do that, but I guess it's interesting in a way that mental health is so prevalent these days. I mean, if you don't mind me saying this, I mean, when I was growing up in New York and specifically in Brooklyn, right, the Big Apple, if I would have talked about, mental health or my feelings, I would have probably been, dropped on my head. I mean, it probably should have been dropped on my head anyway. But, obviously in society, I was trying to make a lighter note on that. But, considering in society, it is prevalent. So let me ask this and turn the tables in a positive so we can go into the future here. Maybe how has professional wrestling helped you, Mr. Chair, and maybe overcoming some of those things that you've been dealing with and getting us here back on the path that we know you're going to be?
So, professional wrestling in general is it's still a large part of I
Well, we're having a little bit of trouble right now with the chairman. Mr. Chair, I think we've lost you here. I hope that we can reconnect you. Unfortunately, this is not the picture we like to see, but I do, in the meantime, want to say hello to Mr. Michael Knowles. I see that Tom and Joshua Snow, the manager of my home company, is Nonstop Action Wrestling, where I've come to watch wrestling. Oh, I kind of lost you there a little bit, Mr. Chairman. I hope to have you back. You think you froze there for a minute, so are you there now, Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair, Mr. Chairman,
Can you? I'm just
uh,
checking. Can you hear me?
I'm not. I'm having a hard time hearing you at the moment. I'm hoping that you'll be able to reconnect. Let me see if I can hear you now. You're kind of frozen. You're almost lost in less than time. Well, there we go. Unfortunately, we lost the chairman of Nonstop Action Wrestling. But while we're here, we're actually going to give a little plug to Nonstop Action Wrestling. So they're on YouTube. You can check them out at Stop Action Wrestling 7944 and on Instagram at NSAW Wrestling UK. So we hope to have the chairman, Joshua Snow. And while I have a chance here, I'm going to announce the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, Mr. Sportswire, returns live next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time. Okay, let's hope that we connect with our chairman. Mr. Chairman, I hope that the internet is a lot more kinder than it was shortly. How are you now?
Well, I'm hoping you can hear me a bit better.
A little bit better so far. Okay, yeah, a little better.
Yeah.
Let's obviously hope and pray that that the connection gets a little better. So I'm obviously going to ask the question again. And wrestling has obviously been an important cog in your life for different reasons, inside and outside the ring. So I would be curious then, because I know we opened up kind of in a more of a downer note, but obviously going into the future, especially here with NSAW, how has professional wrestling helped you in terms of overcoming some of the things maybe you dealt with when it comes to mental health and putting you on the path that we know you're going to be on for the rest of the year?
So it helped me get out of a dark spot in my life on more than one occasion, and need something to focus on that I love and enjoy. Something that I do until, well, I want to do it forever if I can. It's absolutely the of my life, and I can't. It's not an understatement to say that for me.
Well, I hope that we can reconnect you here again, because unfortunately we're having a little bit of technical difficulties still here with the chairman of Nonstop Action Wrestling, Mr. Joshua Snow. And we hope that Mr. Snow can reconnect yet again. And I want to say hello also to MX Knights here. He says, evening, Mr. Snow. I mean, Mr. Chairman, I hope that we can connect with you again. So basically, I kind of gathered in the very brief conversation I heard based off that wrestling you hope to continue to do. It's obviously helped you pull out from where you were. I'm happy to hear all that, and certainly, and we lost him again. So, Mr. Snow, we're having a really hard time to connect with him right now at the moment. We certainly apologize for that. These things do happen. My name is the voice of wrestling, the Reverend Tom Bryce, and I am here on Sportswire Radio speaking all things related to Nonstop Action Wrestling, nonstop, never stop. Unfortunately, we're stopping a little bit when it comes to the coverage of Nonstop Action Wrestling, but we want people to follow Nonstop Action Wrestling once again here on their social media platforms, including YouTube and Instagram. And I certainly hope that we can connect with the chairman. So let's hope that the chairman is here now with us. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm hoping that this time we can connect you here. How are you? Is your internet okay? Your internet's giving us here a bad name right now. Bon Jovi used to sing, "You give love a bad name." Your internet Wi-Fi is giving you a bad name right now on Sportswire. I hope you're okay with us now.
Honestly, this internet situation is driving me up the wall, Tom. I am absolutely fed up. I'm glad I'm hopefully going to be getting rid of this stupid thing soon and actually get something good.
I'm going to try my best to hang in there with you. We know we love you here at Sportswire, so anything we can do, obviously, to work with you, we'll make sure of that. But basically, we've got a lot to talk about then when it comes to Nonstop Action Wrestling. We're glad that you're feeling well, but we've got some new champions here. And I want to start off at the top here because Disciple had pretty much reigned supreme here in nonstop action wrestling all throughout the year. I mean, the opponents that he went through and everything that he did in terms of representing the company, he really was the guy putting Ensaw kind of at the forefront here. But obviously, we were all caught by surprise here in the world of professional wrestling that he had basically announced his retirement from nonstop action wrestling, also with the Kingdom of Wrestling, the company. I do some stuff with, and also GT Ministries. And you crowned a new champion, but a very worthy champion, somebody that has been on here in the past. He has been a world champion, and he's really been one of the guys that has been a key to nonstop action wrestling for the company's success, and that is J. Rowe Lewis. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, talk about obviously J. Rowe Lewis now being the champion. I think the guy to lead the company to where we want to be in the future and everything else that we hope for when it comes to nonstop action wrestling. Okay, I guess there we go.
You know, this whole situation with Disciple, I sympathize with him retiring as he did. You know, everybody feels that they need to, and hope that this is not a goodbye forever, but a goodbye later. And I appreciate that, but the must be the face of wrestling, and we had two incredibly talented individuals in that ring on that day, and it was J. Rowe Lewis and the Maverick Matt Williams. And you know, either one of them could have been the perfect champion to be the face of non-stop action wrestling, to be our world-class champion. It just so happened that J. Rowe Lewis, the jester himself, was the one that came out on top. He was the one who is going to be leading the company going forward into the world champion. Good on him. I do wish that we did that triple threat, but I cannot say that I am not glad to see the title out of Disciple's hands and into J. Rowe's instead.
Well, there's no question that obviously Disciple certainly didn't really agree much with some of the ideals that you had in nonstop action wrestling. And obviously, he had one way of doing things. And certainly, I know J. Rowe is going to do it in a different way. And I think also what's good about him being the champion is that he's been a champion before. He's a veteran hand. I think in terms of still, this is a young company that's growing. It's still to have somebody like him, I think helps the company a lot. And also, he's a very worthy champion because he's been a world champion before. And he's another guy that I think a lot of people really respect in the world of professional wrestling.
I agree with that. I agree with everything you said. You know, he's been a world champion at other companies before. I think that's taken away the internet.
Well, there you go. How you doing, Mr. Snow? I know it's tough right now with the internet. We lost him again. I know. I apologize on behalf of the chairman. It's one of those days. Don't take it personal toward the champion. His obviously internet is not acting very well with him, but I do want to say hello to some people, and I want to say hello to Andrew Hanley. Good evening, Tom, and good evening, Mr. Snow. We hope to connect with Mr. Snow back. Matt Royale, somebody I'm sure we'll be speaking with very soon. Mr. Snow, I'm sure you've seen what I've had to say about Dante O'Cara. Yes, we have, but unfortunately right now, Mr. Snow is having some technical difficulties. Let's see if we can work him in. I want to say hello to Owen Carter and the Phantom Phoenix. Mr. Snow, unfortunately, it's one of these tough days with the internet, and I told everybody here coming in that I apologize on your behalf because these things are out of our control, and unfortunately, these things do happen. I've been there, so I get it, and I hope that we can parcel through and get to hear from you more.
Well, I'd like to be able to speak more if the internet will allow me to. If the internet gods allow me to talk for more than 5 minutes at a time.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, J. Rowe is, I believe, somebody that is a very worthy champion, somebody that has been there before, and I think that he is going to help the company reach levels that I think that we wanted to continue to see in the coming months and years ahead.
I agree. And, we can talk about J-Ro being the world-class champion until the cows come home. But I think we can both agree that the most shocking title change of that night, the one that nobody expected at all, was when Dante Okara, with the assistance of Mikey Future at that, our blood champ just came out of complete.
Well, I agree with you that Dante Okara was definitely a huge upset because we had Dante Okara on the show a few weeks before the show, and he was very confident. He had some plans. He talked about a number of different things he was very coy about, but I guess I'll phrase it in a different way. And I don't know if you agree on this or not, but Dante Okara, I guess, has come a long way in the company from when the first time I had him on, because this was a guy that it was almost kind of like, not that he was overlooked, but it was really, I don't know how seriously he was taken with the Swarm, but now, I mean, he's the number 2 champion right now, and he's a guy that's obviously a lot of people are looking to, and he's gained a lot of social media engagements. He's also doing some things outside the ring, and I mean, you may not agree with the outcome, but certainly Dante Okara is a guy that's getting nonstop action wrestling into places that maybe it hasn't been in recently.
I do hear you with that, and I do understand what you say. But don't let Sam Luke saying that Dante Okara's the think Sabi may take that. However, Dante Okara becoming Youngblood champion does sort of exemplify what the title is all about, and that is for the young up and coming talent to really showcase themselves, to put themselves out there. We are a young company ourselves. We have to get our name out there. That Youngblood title is for people like Dante Okara, people who are wanting to put their mark on the professional wrestling scene. So if anything, Dante Okara seeing the Youngblood title was probably an inevitability. Was it going to be against Warhog? That I didn't see. But it is what it is. He did surprise. And
Oh, I think it was a major surprise because
we can say
Warhol, we expected to hold that title for months. I mean, he was dominant in getting the title. I mean, nobody really saw the coming that he relinquished it as quick as he did. I mean, I don't even think he was champion more than 3 months. I mean, the fact that he held the title for that short of a period, I think we expected him really to do what Disciple did with the world-class title. It was hold it for as long as he would have wanted to. And I think that's the surprise when it comes to Dante Okara. I mean, Dante Okara is obviously a guy, though, that we're going to look to. And I mean, what do you think that this means for the future of the Swarm? Do you see the Swarm going for more gold? Do you see, what's your thoughts on that? Obviously, I know you're not the biggest fans of Mr. Okara and his allies, but obviously, what's your opinions on some of that?
well, strange at the moment. Live, or you even heard what happened on the night, then you'll have known that Dante Okara did not have Drac Cross or James Westney by his side throughout the entire match. It was only the inclusion of Mikey Future that helped him secure that title in the first place. A union that I did not see happening. Mikey Future's been out with an arm injury for a very long time. I wonder what Storm is now, and how close they really are as a unit. Are they striking out on their own? Are they just going through a bit of a rough time? I'm not quite sure, but I'm more than certain going forwards, we're going to get the answers to all of that and more.
We're definitely going to do that. And while we have a chance, I want to plug again Nonstop Action Wrestling's social medias, which I did here on YouTube for us. And you can follow the handle there, subscribe to their page. Also, check them out on Instagram at NSAW Wrestling UK, as we are trying our best to soldier on here with the chairman of Nonstop Action Wrestling, Mr. Joshua Snow. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the man behind Sportswire Radio. Also, Owen Carter says, new look, boss. In all seriousness, I'm looking forward to coming home soon. Any thoughts on that from Owen Carter? Obviously, he's been another guy that's been on here a bunch of times on Sportswire Radio, and obviously we know that there were certain things that happened to him not too long ago, and obviously you may have a comment or two on that. Or at least we hope you did.
Well, to thank you for the comment, Owen. Everybody's been talking about the blonde hair recently, but in all seriousness, what happened to Owen at the hands of Dante, Drac, and Dan Robertson, for that matter? It was nothing short of heinous, but it's also totally on form for everything that Swarm and Dan Robertson has done up until Action Wrestling. The fact that Carter is they're going to become is, well, I'm really happy about that. He is someone who definitely will be making their mark in the Youngblood division for sure. I mean, don't forget, Phantom Phoenix is already laying his claim on the Youngblood champion.
Yep, and he's here with us, Mr. Phantom Phoenix. Yep, he basically mentions that. Sure. And Mr. Snow,
I know for a fact, just with how
Mr. Snow, I lost you yet again. So hopefully, I kind of parcel a little bit about what happened there. Basically, Phantom Phoenix, as you correctly had pointed out, had basically mentioned that he will have Dante O'Cara first, and he looks to avenge what happened to his friend, Mr. Owen Carter. So I will do that. While I have a chance to plug it, you can obviously stay frozen on this particular part, but the lawman Kyle Kennedy, Mr. Sportswire himself, is returning to Sportswire Radio live next Wednesday in your chair, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time. The lawman has not been heard of here on Sportswire in many months, and he will have the floor, and who knows what he'll have to say. That's why you're going to want to tune in for all of that here. So let's come back then to our Northern Division champion, Supersonic Sammy Blue, because Supersonic Sammy Blue, well, I hope we can stay connected with you. He has been really impressive because I've seen him in different companies wrestle. I've had guys talk to me off the air about what he's done, and maybe he has been, I guess you might want to say, if I were to say there was a measuring stick in Nonstop Action Wrestling in the 16 or 17 months I've been covering it, I think for my money, it would be Supersonic Sammy Blue as the measuring stick of Nonstop Action Wrestling. He arguably holds a title in the Northern Division Championship. That is that measuring stick. So, I mean, talk about Supersonic Sammy Blue, what happens with him going forward, and how I kind of think he's the measuring stick here in Enso. And maybe what's your thoughts on that along with the first part?
Well, let's hope you'll be able to hear me this I'm about to make. So Sammy Blue, as you correctly surmised, he is our measuring stick for the Yorkshire scene of non-stop action wrestling, and he is someone who has consistently proven that he deserves that Northern title every opportunity that he has. It was fighting against Remus Kane at Nuclear Winter in a beautiful English rounds match.
Yep.
Whether it was fighting against Chris Murphy at Fatal Attraction, or putting his title on the line any chance that he can get his hands on. He is always consistently trying to prove himself as that measuring stick is going to absolutely be tested against Callum Majakster of the city, who recently became title.
And Callum Jakester has been a guy that I'm still very impressed with some of the things he's done, obviously in Blackheart Wrestling. And I go back to his match he had at Wrestling Church. I believe it was Easter weekend against Gareth Angel in one of Gareth's basically return matches. So to me, that's going to be a really, really impressive match. And Callum Jakester is going to have a lot to prove because he's looking for more gold. And he's the upgrade, and he's kind of in a lot of ways to me another guy that's kind of a breakout star really because of your company. I mean, so Callum Jakester, I think, is going to have a lot to prove in this match. What's your thoughts on that?
I do agree, but regardless of the result, Sammy Blue versus Callum Majakster is going to be an absolute spectacle of a match. We have other matches to announce for All Hallows Eve in the coming October show, but just the thought of the supersonic man himself against the upgrade of the society for that Northern Division title, that's got to get you excited. It makes me excited.
I think it's a pound for pound. It's one of the better matches you're going to get. Absolutely.
About absolutely. More will be coming away. I know that the Youngblood title is going to be on the line. I know that the tag team titles are also going to be defended at the show as well. And, more announcements will, but the one match that we know will be happening, regardless of anything else, it will be Supersonic Sammy Blue against Callum Majakster.
Well, listen, you want to talk about, again, pound for pound matches that are just going to be straight up, matches that you would want to put all the pounds you have on you into watching, because that is just going to be a pure wrestling match that if you're a wrestling fan, leave aside what you think about Callum Jakester, the society, whether you're a fan of Supersonic Sammy Blue or not, that is going to be a true match that a lot of people, if you're just going to stop what you're doing, watch what these guys do in the ring. Because Supersonic Sammy Blue, I've seen him in GT Ministries. I've been watching him, covering him here for the past 16 or 17 months. And what I saw with Callum Majakester, what he did with Gareth Angel, that was really kind of the Gareth Angel tune-up comeback match. What he did in that match, he proved, I think, to a lot of people that hadn't covered him, that this is a guy that he has shown why he's got the experience that he has here. And I want to say hello to a few other people. Daniel Banner says, good evening, Tom. Guess a chip on your shoulder and a motivation can push you to do almost anything. Interesting comment. And I have here from Mr. Royale, the match to book at All Hallows Eve, Mr. Snow. Anything you want to say while we can try to, hear you throughout these next, whatever it is time-wise on Sportswire?
I know exactly what Matt Royale's talking about. And, I can promise you for the next time, Mr. Bryce, the internet connection will be a lot better than this. But
I gotta be honest, I really hope that the internet connection. Yep. I really hope the internet connection will be better. I'm almost tempted to say, yeah. I'm having a very difficult time hearing you. I'm almost tempted to say, yeah, I'm almost tempted to say if there would be a better day this week that your internet would be a little bit better, but I'm going to try my best in the meantime to at least plug at Nonstop Action Wrestling, because if you haven't yet, please again support them at the following pages, which you can do. And you can also support Sportswire Radio here, because we are live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year on sportnarium.com/player. You can check us out on YouTube at Sportswire Radio, Twitter at Thomas Price 2017, and the Instagram at the Sports Report 2021. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling. And we'll have more coverage here when it comes to the world of professional wrestling at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time with the It Factor, Cyrus from Dominant Breakout Wrestling, and they have a huge show coming up here. So tune in for more details, and we'll find out here. But Obviously, I do want to get to somebody, Mr. Snow. Well, I hope we can keep your connection that would like to say something because I had mentioned his name, and he, of course, is a promoter like you. And he has a show coming up here this weekend, and it's called GT Ministries. That's the name of the company. And I think we lost. That's the wrong comment. That was Mr. Gareth Angel himself. Mr. Angel, obviously, we actually have a guest from GT Ministries coming on Thursday who Mr. Angel knows very well, named Bentley, who is the new Bolton Town Wrestling Champion of the world and the vigilante of pro wrestling, will be here with us. And he says, Callum gave me a fight. He's got some skill. And I think that's really, to me, Callum a Jakester. In a way, I'm going to phrase this in a different way, Mr. Chairman. I think what Callum brings to the table is kind of what I think as to why a lot of people have really supported nonstop action wrestling and the type of talent that you have to offer, because here's a young talent that has gotten a place to wrestle and he's gotten the opportunity to showcase himself when he didn't quite have that opportunity. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
So you are exactly right, and I saw the match between Gareth Angel and Callum Jakester. You're absolutely right in saying that he gave him a really, really close fought fight, and that he has of skill. I've had the pleasure or even displeasure of seeing Callum Jakester in a lot of matches recently. He is one does exemplify the next generation sort of wrestler. For me, if we're going to talk about him, we've got to talk about what drives him. And I know what it is that drives him. He is someone who has been in the industry for over 10
years. Yep.
And up until he earned the tag titles with Remus K at Wrestling for Kirkwood Hospital, he had not won a single title throughout that entire career. And I know that plays on him. So I say this because it relates to his match with Sammy Blue, because there's a lot of history going into that. Callum Jakester is going to be trying to reclaim some honor that was lost when Remus K lost against Sammy Blue for the Northern Division title. And for Callum to be able to do what he's new in 10 years, have a title he clearly say is his own. He has been chasing a lot of gold. I mean, he even fought for the world-class title at GT Ministries against Tommy Dillon. This is another chance for him to be able to earn some glory for himself.
Absolutely, no question about that here. And I'm going to get to some comments here because some people are also in the conversation. I have respect for both Matt and Phoenix, but I feel Phoenix has that right first, as Owen was attacked. Not saying you don't deserve a shot, Matt, but Phoenix had issues with Dante first. Yes, absolutely. That is a fair point, and that's obviously what Mr. Chairman was saying, but also Mr. Royale would like to say, respect that Phoenix has the first stab at Dante, but I'll be the one offering the finishing blow. Well, we'll have to find out. And the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, again, my guest next Wednesday, says, my boy Callum is one of, if not the most underrated UK talents. Tell me where I'm telling lies. Absolutely. That I agree with you on. I think there's no question that Callum Jakester has proven himself to be somebody that can go in the ring. And I'm looking forward to obviously watching this match amongst the rest of the card here. So I have to ask you then, we have this show coming up, All Hallows Eve. And what are the goals then for the rest of the year? Obviously, Zenith took place a few weeks ago. We have a new world-class champion. We have a new Youngblood champion. Supersonic Sammy Blue and Callum Jakester is announced. So what are the goals then for the rest of the year in Nonstop Action Wrestling?
Well, for me personally, it's new internet. But beyond that,
I know, you know, and we will definitely
want
do
to
another spot.
challenge
We will
him.
do another spot maybe even next week. So, I mean, I really do feel bad that we're actually trying to do this. I mean, part of me says, do you want to reschedule this? Because I am having like a hard time hearing you in these questions, and I feel bad in this spot. I don't know what to say. I mean, if you want to continue, I'm happy to continue, but it's difficult to hear you and kind of see you on the video here. the way this is going. Usually I've had you on many times and we don't really have an issue. I don't know what to say. I mean, if the audience wants us to keep going and they think we're okay and they're hearing us fine, I'll continue. But I mean, yeah, obviously we want better internet, but I think Nonstop Action Wrestling, we have some shows ahead between now and the end of the year. And I kind of think that that might be some of the goals in terms of what we'd like to see and the continued success of the company.
Of course. So obviously we've got All Hallows Eve coming up in October, and for Non-Stop Action Wrestling on its own, we will still have our Nuclear Winter show in December. But Tom,
I think we lost Mr. Snow.
oh,
Well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're having
we
a lot of
have
technical
something else
difficulties.
in
Yep.
October and December. And in that month, Non-Stop Action Wrestling is pulling out one last little end of year.
I actually didn't hear what you just said on that. I mean, I'd like to try to hear it one more time. You had something else. Oh, and I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is unfortunately not going the way that we'd like it to go on Sportswire Radio. So I'm going to ask everybody to hang on tight. And I think we're going to reschedule this interview with Mr. Snow because he's having some bad technical difficulties. I apologize. I will be back here Friday with Jenny Hayes for more coverage, and also the lawman Kyle Kennedy next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time. Mr. Snow has actually just messaged me that he can no longer appear on the show. He's having some technical difficulties, so I do apologize on behalf of everyone. So I hope everybody here has at least enjoyed what they could. And we'll be back here for sure with Jenny Hayes, the rock idol of the UK, 8 o'clock British Standard Time. Also, Mr. Snow, we'll reschedule him sometime next week. I'll also have again Bentley. Bentley will be in the house Thursday night, 8 o'clock British Standard Time, to talk about the GT Ministries main event for the world title against Rarebit. He'll also talk about his win for the BTW title, the Undisputed Championship against Jack Johnson. And I'll have the lawman Kyle Kennedy. I repeat, the lawman Kyle Kennedy is back, Mr. Sportswire, for the first time in nearly 5 months. He is in the house coming up here next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time. I want to say hello also to the Tribal Cheese himself, Mr. Big Cheese Logan, who's closing in on 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, the Big Cheese, you missed it. That Joshua Snow, the chairman of Nonstop Action Wrestling, his internet basically made him tap out. I hope you were feeling better, the Tribal Cheese. We definitely acknowledge. No, you didn't miss anything. Unfortunately, his technical difficulties, the chairman of Nonstop Action Wrestling, basically tapped out on him. He was KO'd from it. So we're going to redo that show. I will be back here with Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time with Champagne Charlie and the Nomad Dalton Garrett. You've seen them in a number of different companies. They made an appearance in Nonstop Action Wrestling not too long ago, and we're going to talk with the guys about their future, plus much, much more. So I'm going to apologize for everybody tonight that is tuned in. We will have more Nonstop Action Wrestling coverage again coming up here Friday with Jenny Hayes. We'll also have on here coming up next week the lawman Kyle Kennedy. And everybody, if you're on YouTube, go follow Mad Manx, the Tribal Cheese himself. Also, check out people like Kyle Kennedy, the lawman. He also is on YouTube. He does a great job with vlogs. He also talks about his opinions. Also, Gareth Angel, GT Ministries UK. Check them out. Also, Wrestling Church FCB to watch Saturday show on all their socials. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. I'm going to sign off here for now. I apologize on behalf of Joshua Snow. We will reschedule this interview sometime next week here on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio. Until then, please follow our friends at Nonstop Action Wrestling and also check us out anytime on Sportswire Radio.